such a huge story. And Alan, I mean, I think the announcement caught many of us out. That's why four of us are going to discuss it, not five perhaps, are going to discuss it now. Did it surprise you, and the timing of it?
Yes and no. I think his season and Liverpool's season has been strange. So he got the 2-year deal in the summer. There was a lot of talk about in the summer where he was going to go. I mean, you can't really do him justice with words, what he's done at Liverpool. All I could say is, you have to put him in that category of Kenny Dalglish, Kevin Keegan, Stevie Gerrard. He's right up there and been magnificent for them. And I think this ending, where they've terminated the contract and more or less sort of said, you can have a free transfer or start negotiating your transfer in the summer, it is a nice gesture from Liverpool. I think Liverpool fans probably think they should be getting some money for him, actually.
Yeah.
But
is it a good business?
I don't know. I don't know if it's good business, but what I would say is in the dressing room, I think it would have gone down very well. And sometimes keeping the dressing room happy is a very, very important thing for a club like Liverpool, particularly the season they're having. So it does make a lot of sense to me, and I'm sure everybody at Liverpool and in the football world will wish him well in his next move, for sure.
Yeah, you make a really good comment there about keeping the team happy as well. Like you say, it's difficult for Arne Slot at the moment. Saudi seems the likeliest destination, Carvey. Which teams could he go to, do you think?
I mean, I think if he was going to go to Saudi Arabia, it would be to one of the clubs who are owned by the Sovereign Wealth Fund. I think the most likely destination would be Al Ittihad. They've tried to sign him in the past. They offered £150 million, which was turned down by Liverpool. At the moment, they don't have a marquee player because Karim Benzema has moved to Al Hilal. Al Hilal are also a possibility for him. They see themselves as like the Real Madrid of Asia. They're the most successful team in Saudi Arabia. They've got Karim Benzema at the moment. They've got a lot of star players. Crucially, they also have a billionaire Saudi investor who owns a big chunk of the club. And
tough season, and they've needed someone to be a little bit more defensive-minded down that right-hand side, and he hasn't been able to be that player that Arne Slot needs this season. So I don't think there'll be any regrets. But like Alan touched upon, I think this is the perfect scenario because now Liverpool will have freed up 20 to 30 million pounds that would have been ring-fenced for Mo Salah next season. They know in March that they need to find a player that can play maybe down on the right-hand side if that's what they decide to do. They also have the opportunity now to give one of the greatest ever players for Liverpool a great farewell. The next 7-8 weeks will be, the Mo Salah farewell tour. And the players will get the opportunity to play with one of the greats and enjoy those moments. The fans will be able to do the same. And there'll be a hope and ambition at Liverpool that actually Mo Salah's still got one more chapter in this Liverpool book to write, and that includes maybe an FA Cup or even greater, the Champions League. They could still end up with a double this season. So I don't think there'll be any regrets on their part. I think, in my opinion, they'll be really comfortable with the business they did last season. They bought the best of the best, the best 10 in their mind, the best 9 in their mind in Isak and Wirtz, Hugo Ekitike as well, and signing Virgil and Mo on those contracts. I don't think there's anyone that would have disagreed that at the time was the right thing to do based on the way they'd performed.
Just to think, the one thing about Mo, I would say about this year is that sometimes when you have a poor season, the club are having a poor season, and you can see the enthusiasm in him isn't perhaps as it was last year. But because of his age, you kind of write him off and say, oh, well, that's him. You have cliches like his legs have gone, etc., etc. He can't. But I don't think he's that bad. I actually think he could get regenerated quite quickly. Yeah. And the Champions League run, the next phase, that might give him a lift. This might give him a lift. And I think he's a good signing. I really do. I don't think this is all about he's suddenly hit the wall. I just think he's having a little bit of a downtime after an amazing season last year.
Physically, you see him with his shirt off, he's still incredible. He's an athlete.
Yeah, and his game's not based around lightning pace.
No.
He's always been about technical, getting to that corner of the right-hand side of the box, going left or going right. Take your pick. He can go either way and cause you a problem if you're a fullback. So I think this is a good scenario, and Liverpool are the club that are the experts in departures. Look at Klopp, and, over the years, what we've had, Steven Gerrard, the farewell game and all that. Actually, Crystal Palace beat them that day, but I just throw that
had to get it in.
Get it in there. But no, they're very, very good at it, and a beautiful club, in terms of looking after their own.
OK, but are they then good at replacements? Because arguably they have replaced Trent Alexander-Arnold with Frimpong this season. It hasn't quite worked out. Szoboszlai has been doing that position, and that's actually to their detriment because they miss him in the midfield. They lose Mo Salah on the right-hand side as well. What happens to that right-hand side? How irreplaceable is he going to be, and who do they get to kind of fill that void?
Well, they've missed, when I look in the Premier League, I think Semenyo was an obvious target, actually, to replace Mo. But obviously he's gone now, before to Manchester City, and he's doing particularly well there. Very, very difficult to replace the numbers. I remember Alex Ferguson saying, trying to replace the numbers Ronaldo was delivering the first time round. It was just impossible. So they tried to spread it out a little bit, but, went and got an 8 and, try and cover the numbers in other areas as well as that area. Very difficult to replace him.
I think the key thing for Liverpool in replacing Mo Salah is I don't believe that they will try and replace like for like. Do and get a failed Chelsea player who's scoring goals in Serie A. That's what Mo Salah was before he went there. Obviously huge amounts of ability, but that was the situation. They're not going to go and do that. I think, in my opinion, they'll try and find a player that complements Florian Wirtz, that complements Alexander Isak, that fits into maybe a system that we haven't seen Arne Slot play so far this season. Are they going to go and get someone that plays on the right-hand side, who's a left-footer that comes in field? Probably not.
A player who could definitely replace him, right? And an interesting question for you, because you'll know if this is possible. Yamal, right, could replace Mo Salah. Now, could Liverpool financially get him out of Barcelona with the situation of Barcelona?
I love that.
Well, I'm intrigued for this one, so Carve, what you got?
I think the chances are somewhere between slim and none, and slim is out of town at the moment.
Barcelona, have a presidential vote soon
Coming up. They do have financial problems.
They have financial problems with a new stadium, etc., etc.
I mean, as great a club as Liverpool are, I think it would be difficult for a young player to leave Barcelona and move to.
I actually watched him this week, Yamal, and I think he is blossoming perhaps in the world's greatest player now. Really, in the World Cup, would be interesting to see him.
Against Newcastle. Keith, I wanted to bring you in terms of, we were talking, perhaps it is Saudi, but is there the slimmest possibility, maybe, that he goes somewhere else? Could there be a team in the Premier League that look at this opportunity to get Mo Salah in for the last hurrah?
Yeah, well, we were talking before. It'd probably be difficult for him to go to another Premier League club now. I mean, he's been at Liverpool for what, 9 years, a decade.
Yeah.
Everything he's done there. I think that would be difficult. We were chatting beforehand, and of course Saudi is the obvious one, as Kavi says. But perhaps maybe he fancies going to the MLS. Like maybe there's a chance for him to go over there and make a name for himself, and the glitz and the glamour and everything that comes from it. So. Look, we'll see. But for me, just when he spoke at the Leeds match, I think it was just before Christmas, wasn't it? When he came out and basically said, I've been thrown under the bus here. It sounded like that was up for him. For me, the biggest surprise is it's taken until this summer. It felt like he was going to go in January. But you look at the way Liverpool have done this, the way they've designed it, and maybe they're just thinking, hang on, if he gets the send-off and allows the players to sort of join this celebration, perhaps it'll just give the players this little boost until the end of the season and allow them to maybe pick up one or both of those trophies that you mentioned.
What's interesting is that before he signed his new contract at Liverpool last April, most people in football thought that he wasn't going to get a new deal. His representatives did actually hold secret talks with at least one other Premier League club. So if you go back
how secret are these talks? And can you reveal the club?
If you go back 12 months, there was the possibility that he would play for another Premier League club.
So it's not dead in the water then, is it then?
Well, it depends on what he feels like now. Does he feel like he could never play for another Premier League club? And also perhaps the opportunities that were on the table, back last year are no longer on the table. The problem is his wage. He's on £400,000 a week at Liverpool.
There's no way he's going to a Premier League club.
Why?
Well,
because of the salary?
Because he's probably the number one Muslim player in the world. So Saudi Arabia would obviously be a great fit. I think the MLS, in terms of their criteria of trying to boost their league, he would be a brilliant signing. And I just don't see another Premier League side who would take him at that sort of figures that they're going to offer.
Just one thing as well. Remember, he could have signed a pre-contract agreement with a side outside the Premier League in January last year, and everyone knew that he was in the last year of his contract. And let's be honest, there would have been probably some really lucrative financial offers on the table, and he chose actually to stay at Liverpool. So if he was going for the money, he would have probably gone last year.